going to stop. Let's welcome this wonderful devotees who came here for the first time. Thank you for coming. Anyone else here for the first time coming? Yes, Mataji was from? Huh? Gunet. All they're from Gunet. Let's give a round of applause for her. Yes, sir.
Kennesaw.
Kennesaw, from all the Kennesaw. Let's welcome him. Anyone else? Where are you from? You're from Atlanta?
Kennesaw also.
Okay, let's welcome you also. Anyone else here for the first time coming? Okay, those who have come first time, I request you all, if you don't have a Bhagavad Gita, please collect a Bhagavad Gita copy from the table. There is outside the book table. You can, before you leave, get a Bhagavad Gita, complimentary Bhagavad Gita. So now we'll have a Sunday lecture, which was actually scheduled for Vedas Prabhu to give, but now I request Brajaraj Gopal Prabhu to come and give the class. Is he here? I saw him just now. So today's class was set up for humility and humbleness is the way to achieve pure devotion to Krishna. So hopefully Brajaraj Gopal will speak on that. And then after the Sunday class is over, we'll have mini arti more kirtan and we'll honor the Sunday sponsor. And then we'll have announcement and then there'll be prasadam for everyone. So by 6 or 5 p.m. we'll have prasadam for everyone. So anyone is here, please take prasadam. Don't leave without prasadam. And if you have to leave earlier, you can see Naveen Prabhu and he'll make a place for you if you have to go earlier. So this is very nice that Prabhupada has given us. On Sunday we can all get together and hear about Krishna, dance, chant and take Mahaprasad and have a good association. And in the assembly of devotees you get to hear about Krishna. You can sit there.
Iskcon Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmittamena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri-Guru Shri-Yuta Padakamalam Shri-Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Shri Vishakam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shri Pashati Deshakari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vacham pangam gayate kirim kripatam vande Shri Gurum Tadanam Shri Shamam Sataputram Krishnam Rupam Satyadhyam Kirim Makarim Goshvatam Radha Kundam Givaram Radhika Madhavasam Toyasya Kapitakapriya Shri Gurum Tamnatavasmi Shri Gurum Tamnatavasmi Shri Gurum Tamnatavasmi. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas present here. The presence of their presence is the blessing that I'm seeking. I do not have any qualifications. I have spent so many years hearing from them, so I'm hoping that they'll bless me by their words of correction and feedback. I want to learn more and I want to become humble. Today's topic is on these two qualities of humility and tolerance. And obviously most devotees would have realized that the topic, the verse which speaks the most about humility and tolerance is Shikshastika, verse 3. Can someone recite the Shikshastika verse 3? Would anybody like to volunteer? Yes, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. Trinadapi Sunichena, one who thinks himself lower than the straw grass. Taroriva Sahishnuna, who is more tolerant than a tree. Amanina Manadena, one who does not expect personal honor, yet is prepared to give it to others. Kirtanya Sadahari, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. So, in this verse, we see there are 4 principles mentioned. One is of thinking oneself lower than the straw of grass, humility. To be as tolerant as a tree, tolerance. do not expect personal honor and yet be willing to give it to others. So there are 4 principles that are mentioned in this verse. So one thing that I have personally meditated on, I was mercifully given Harinam Diksha by my Guru Maharaj 2 years ago. And at the time of initiation, he asked for the vow, 2 vows. One of chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and the second vow of following these 4 regulative principles. Could someone volunteer and say what the 4 regulative principles are? That all devotees who are practicing Gaudiya Vaishnavas follow? Yes?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. Now, one thing that always struck me was these 4 regulative principles are telling us to not do something. Like, don't eat meat, don't commit to illicit sex, don't struggle, don't succumb to intoxication, and don't gamble. So, 4 no's and 1 do. One do of chanting Hare Krishna and these 4 no's. So I used to always wonder, why is there so much emphasis on the no's? Why are we being told to? Why are we following this process of neti? No. Why so many regulative principles? And one thing that I have heard from our senior Vaishnavas, our Varishta Vaishnavas, is that these 4 principles, which were given to us by our dear Srila Prabhupada, they're actually hinting at something much deeper. It's not just don't eat meat and don't commit illicit sex. There's something much deeper over here. So, as I read the Bhakti Shastras, I came to realize that actually there are 4 principles of human life. The 4 principles or the 4 legs of Dharma. And those 4 legs are 1, austerity. That we commit to a certain practice without, despite it giving us some immediate discomfort. Austerity. 2, honesty. That we are honest not just with others, but with ourselves. 3, forgiveness. That we show compassion to living entities, whether they are, small or big, not just human beings. And 4, cleanliness. That when we clean ourselves, both physically and internally, then we are actually cleaning our heart. That we are removing ourselves from the identification of our body. And so I realized that these 4 regulative principles that Srila Prabhupada has mercifully given us are actually a reflection of these 4 principles of human life. So, the principle of intoxication, to avoid intoxicating substances, addictive substances, is actually our commitment to the vow of austerity. That we purposefully seek to accept immediate discomfort for the sake of a higher goal. So when we are being asked to prevent ourselves from succumbing to intoxication, we must think of austerity as the principle. Similarly with gambling, every time you gamble, you have to deal with deceit. You have to deal with lies. And hence, the principle of the activity of gambling is actually breaking our ability to be truthful. So, to maintain our honesty, avoiding gambling is a first step. 3. Meat eating. When we eat meat, we are not just trying to satisfy our tongue, but we are doing it at the cost of another living entity. We are doing it at the cost of another living entity's life. And so that the principle of forgiveness, of compassion, is the principle that we are trying to practice when we practice no meat eating. I'm sorry. And no illicit sex. The idea behind avoiding illicit sex or sex outside of marriage is that when one refrains from indulging in their in the senses of in the bodily senses, then one is detaching themselves from the concept of their body, because those who are deeply involved in sense pleasure are always thinking, oh, how's my hair today? How do I look? What does that person think of me when they look at me? Is there anybody who's more good looking than me? And so we're always worried about the bodily concept when we are so focused in sense pleasure. So avoiding intoxication is to observe austerity. Avoiding gambling is to be truthful. Avoiding meat eating is to be forgiving or compassionate. And avoiding illicit sex is to maintain the concept of cleanliness. These are deep principles on their own. And what has been a realization for me is that the 4 principles that we have just discussed are very, very deeply connected to this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena Taruriva Samishra. I feel that, or it has been one realization of mine, and obviously the Professor Acharya, is that these principles, Sunichena, humility, Sahishnuna, tolerance, Amanina, giving all respects, Manadena, not accepting anything for oneself. These are the real regulative principles for a Vaishnava. To be humble, to be tolerant, to not expect respects, and to be ready to give all respects to others. These are actually, in one sense, regulative principles of very high level. And I feel grateful that Srila Prabhupada has given us something much easier to practice, but given us the prayojan of where we need to go. That this Trinadapi Sunichena Taruriva Sahishnuna verse is actually indicative of these 4 regulative principles, but at a much, much deeper level. Because if one is humble, one is tolerant, and one is able to give respects without expecting any other, then what to speak of being a human being, they are at a consciousness which is rarely obtained in this world. So I feel that these are 4 regulative principles which are the do's. And the 4, they are the same regulative principles that Srila Prabhupada gave us, but in terms of do's. Because it's hard to keep hearing, don't do this, don't do that. Because every time someone says, don't do something, you want to do that even more. So by knowing that these 4 regulative principles can be encapsulated in this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, is very hope-giving for me. In this regard, there is a senior godbrother of Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, and he there was once this situation where he had some Western disciples, and these disciples had committed an offense to another Vaishnava. So Puri Maharaj, in his grave mood, told them, you know, before you were eating meat, and you gave up eating meat to become a Vaishnava. But now, by committing an offense to the Vaishnavas, you're actually eating the meat of the Vaishnavas. So it's better that you go back to eating meat, because that is not as bad as hurting the Vaishnavas. And so the true essence of these four regulative principles that we have are being encapsulated in this verse through this simple understanding that anarthas are very dangerous for us. Anartha, if translated from Sanskrit to English, translates as anartha. Artha means wealth or fortune, and an means misplaced fortune. So an anartha is something in which we assume we get fortune, good fortune from, but from which we actually don't get anything. In fact, it hurts us. It's like the camel. The camel eats cacti in the desert, and it loves the taste of the cacti. But if you actually analyze what it's tasting, it's actually tasting its own blood. It's eating the cactus hurts its tongue, blood oozes out of its tongue, and tasting that blood is what is giving it pleasure. So an anartha is that which where we have an illusory idea of where we get our good fortune from. And this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, is the shovel by which we can remove the anarthas from our heart. One other beautiful thing about Trinadapi Sunichena is, how many of you know how many times this verse occurs in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? This verse occurs in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but does it occur just once? Okay, how many people think that this verse occurs once? How many people think it occurs twice? 3 times? 4 times? Okay, now I'm just messing with everyone. It occurs 3 times in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This one verse is repeated thrice in the same book. The most prominent occurrence that most of us remember is from the series of 8 verses that Mahaprabhu composed. What is the name of those 8 verses? Shikshashtaka. So those prayers occur at the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But there are 2 other cases when this verse occurs. The first occurrence is when Mahaprabhu is speaking to Shuklambar Brahmachari, and the second instance is when Mahaprabhu is giving instructions to Raghunath Das Goswami. So, for those who may not know, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan were saints who lived very, very austere lives, but who compiled so many verses that are the basis of our practice in bhakti. So most of the texts and the commentaries that we read are either theirs or a translation that they have taken from various parts of the Vedic literature that emphasize bhakti. So Raghunath Das Goswami is one of those Goswamis. And what he said and what he represents is that he is considered the Prayojan Tattvacharya, which means that the teachings of Raghunath Das Goswami and his life are indicative of the final goal that all bhakti yogis want to achieve. In the end, what are we all searching for? We're all searching for love and how to love. At a very very specific level, we are searching for Radha Dasi. We are searching for Krishna Prem. We want to fall in love with the lordships and be engaged in the seva of their pure devotees. So Raghunath Das Goswami he's reflecting that mood of being the Prayojan Tattvacharya. His teachings are considered what we consider the goal of bhakti. So one may think that for someone like Raghunath Das Goswami, Mahaprabhu would have shared something very intimate about him. He would have shared some very intimate instructions with him about, how to reach Krishna. There's some secret meditation which only you can do and, others who are not qualified cannot do. Or there's some secret, text which you must read which will reveal everything about, your seva or your service in the spiritual world. But interestingly, when Mahaprabhu is speaking to Goswami Pad, he tells him, okay, you must meditate on Radha and Krishna on your mind, and eventually the seva that you will take up in the spiritual world will be revealed to you. But just 3 verses before, he's telling Goswami Pad, don't gossip. Like don't waste your time, just watching CNN and Fox News and comparing anchors and what they are sharing. He's saying, don't gossip, which is kind of a very rudimentary instruction. It's kind of an instruction which you would get from many personality development, folks on YouTube and Instagram. So it is interesting that Mahaprabhu, who is considered the Channa Avatar, who's Radha and Krishna in one form, is telling the most exalted saint in our disciplic succession, don't gossip. And what is even more interesting is that after sharing all these instructions, in the end he says, if I have to conclude every instruction that I have shared with you, I will conclude it with one verse. The verse is, Tanapi Sunichena Tadoriva Savishna Amanuna Amadeya Kirtaniya Sana. It is so interesting that this subtle and deeply internal practice of bhakti has so much to do with something, with a quality as well known, as well studied, but not as well applied as humility, as tolerance. Whenever I feel crisis, I like to go back to this verse. So one quick personal story. So last night, we were driving back from Alpharetta, and in the middle, the car's check engine light went on, and we were stranded. We were like, we never saw this alert yesterday. Why is it happening now? And it's really late at night. It's almost 11:45, and so I'm like, my God, we're stuck here. We're not going anywhere. And Nitai Prabhu was with me in the car, and we are discussing options. Okay, should we just leave the car here, take an Uber, and come back, or should we call AAA? Should we get someone to tow the vehicle? What do we do till then? How will we keep the car safe? How will we get back? And so I was feeling lots of anxiety. I was like, what's wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. Why is this happening to me? I'm going to, for those of us who live in the temple, we try to sleep early, get up early, live a healthy life. We try to wake up early in the morning at 4 a.m., have cold showers, and then perform the ceremony of Mangalarti, the Tulsi Arti, Narsim Arti. And so it was giving me a lot of like irritation, and I was venting it out on Nitai Prabhu. And then one thing that he told me that really struck me was, Prabhu, you cannot control the situation. So stop trying to control the situation. That desire to control every situation is causing your anxiety. And so immediately I was reminded of this verse, Srinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Savishna. Because this tiny blade of grass cannot control who steps on it. It's there. And people walk on it, and people don't even say, oh, hey, I'm so sorry I stepped on it. No, nobody's going to care. You can run on it, you can pull it out of the ground, you can, throw your garbage on it. Nothing. Similarly with the tree, it is so interesting. There's this Persian saying that the sandalwood tree is so magnanimous that it is giving perfume to the same axe that is cutting it. I repeat, the sandalwood tree is so merciful that it is giving perfume to the same axe that is cutting it. And so, what I realized then is that tendency that we have to control every situation is actually that ahankar, the ego within, manifesting the desire that I want to be in charge. Like, I want to be a mini God in myself. I want to be able to dictate the future and control my present. And in this verse I realized, looking at the example of the small blade of grass and the tree, we can learn so much about how they relinquish their desire for control. And in relinquishing that desire for control, they are able to be so peaceful. I've never, walked past a tree and say, it's so cold today, it's raining today, like what? Nobody's bringing me blankets. Like, what, with all these vehicles, these humans, they don't know how to control their pollution, and it's affecting me. Like, these people cut me down, and then they don't grow anything else in my place. You never hear a tree complaining. So, in my heart, what I feel is that this tendency to want to control every situation is a big impediment to our bhakti. And this verse, meditating on this verse every day can help us. For those who are very sincerely practicing bhakti, and especially the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his book Bhajan Rahasya that this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, is a verse, is like a prayojan verse for all those who are struggling sadhakas, for those who are seeking the stage of nishtha. Meditating on this verse for those who are struggling with stability is, a key benediction of this verse. So, one contemplation that the acharyas reveal about nishtha is that when you talk about nishtha in Sanskrit can be translated into internal satisfaction. And so I've always deeply wondered, if you hear the stories of these great saints, who have been meditating for so long, like, what does internal satisfaction mean for them? What is nishtha for them? Bhaktivinoda Thakur specifically says that nishtha is this is not peace. It's not that there are no more problems in my life, that's why I'm stable. But nishtha is about being able to balance their head and their heart in all crises of life. So someone in the stage of nishtha is not devoid of problems. It's not that they have a dearth of problems. They actually might have many more challenges, but they choose to go out of their comfort zone in a healthy way, not in a way that causes destruction, but in a way that balances head and heart. Because the head is always coming up with newer and newer desires and newer intellectualizations of how the world works and what I can do to be happy. And the heart is saying, all I want is to experience the emotion of happiness. For someone who uses their head without their heart, they are called a philosopher. They just love to speculate and come up with their books, and it's nice to it's nice popcorn for the mind. But for those who just work using their heart without using their head, they're sentimental, because for one ill word that is uttered to them, they will cry, and for one very minor pleasure, they'll become extremely happy. And so nishtha is that ability to balance the demands of the head and the needs of the heart. So, and that only happens, that balance between head and heart only happens when one goes out of the comfort zone. So I reflect a lot on this, because we, when we consider ourselves a part of Srila Prabhupada's mission, this mission of Mahaprabhu to, Prithiviti Yache Nagaradi Gram, to go out and to meet people and to share the happiness of our practice with them, so that they can feel the happiness that God wants to give them. To do that, one must step out of their comfort zone. It is very easy to rationalize and say, oh, I don't see a lot of people doing this, so it must be like it mustn't be a real thing, it's just some mental concoction of mine. But when one starts moving out of their comfort zone, it's like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing fully well that Gaur Nitai, that Radha Madan Mohan are pulling the rope that is holding us behind, so that we can safely, parachute onto the next cliff. So I see nishtha very deeply reflected in this verse of Trinadapi Sunichena, because without the ability to balance head and heart, without the ability to balance giving appreciation to others and not expecting any in return, one cannot experience stability. Because crisis is always, it's like, it's part of the product description on Amazon the moment you say you're in the material world. So I happened to look, I was, while studying for this class, one thing I happened to look up was, what is the dictionary meaning of humility? Because we're talking so much about humility, what is the dictionary meaning? And Oxford Dictionary says that humility is the capacity to recognize our mistakes. And I felt that it's a very practical definition of humility, because it's very hard to tell ourselves, this is where I fall short. We have this, the world has created this superficial understanding that if I'm not perfect, if I'm not a perfect example, role model, ideal, human being, I cannot receive love. It's a very weird understanding, but I don't know. Have you all experienced this? That we're scared of revealing our imperfections because we're scared that if I'm not perfect, nobody will love me. They will dog on me. Oh, he eats prasadam so late at night. Oh, he struggles to keep his mind calm. Oh, the moment the new Avengers movie comes out, he's like, the first one to book his ticket. And so we're scared that if we reveal our imperfections, then we lose the love of those whose attention we want. And that's why it is so critical that we find sadhus. Because sadhu means one who's capable of giving unconditional love. They do not need you to be perfect. In fact, why do we need love if we are perfect? It's our imperfections that make us need love. It's our imperfections that make us view bhakti and humility. Bhakti starts with humility, and this humility starts with being okay with our imperfections and being able to share those imperfections with sadhus, or those who we consider dear friends, dear mentors. When we talk about the concept of humility and tolerance, we must realize that we are not the only ones who have to be humble and tolerant. Actually, if you think of it, we have done a lot of weird things ever since we've been in this material world. We have such weird desires and things which may seem very amoral, or things that we also cannot explain but are just habits. But we see that the Supreme Lord, Radha Madan Mohan, Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai, the Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, our gurus, are so merciful with us. Actually, they are examples of humility and tolerance for us. We think that, oh, I'm the only one who has to practice humility and tolerance, but no, they are practicing much more humility and tolerance just so that we don't give up our path, our challenges while we practice bhakti. And so, it does help for us to, it's easier for one to practice humility and tolerance if he can read and study the lives of those who have lived before us and who have achieved perfection through this process. Those who have actually, like Srila Prabhupada, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who have actually shown real humility. By studying their lives, we forget our imperfections and get hope in order to be able to be more humble and more tolerant. And so, the idea that all of them are giving causeless mercy helps us understand that we are actually not at all deserving of that mercy. What have we done for us to have the opportunity to be with such nice people? What have we done for the opportunity to be able to receive help even when we have not helped someone? What have we done to actually receive this blessing of the chanting of the holy name, such an easy and sublime yet sublime process for this age? I mean, someone could have easily told us you're only going to be liberated if you go to the Himalayas, discard all your clothing and stand on one toe. Right? But no, they're saying you don't need to do that, just chant Hare Krishna. And so causeless mercy is truly causeless. And so meditating on the fact that we don't deserve this causeless mercy allows us to cultivate a humility which is eternal. As I mentioned, we were talking about how the ego always is anxious. And one of the reasons the ego is always anxious is because the ego wants to deserve. The ego wants to feel like, I did this and that's why I'm getting this. And it's so beautiful that Krishna has created the material world for those of us who want to exact on that desire of ego. That's why you have karma. That's why you have justice, right? Because I did something right, so I deserve to be treated the right way. This desire to be in control of circumstances is coming from our ego, and this blocks us from actually experiencing that Trinadapi Sunichena Karuri Vasakshana. There's a beautiful verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I think many of you know it. Anarpita Charinchira Karmiya Palo. The last line of that verse is very, very inspiring for me. It says that Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratyuva Sachinandanaha. Sada Hridaya Kandare. In the cave of my heart, Sachinandana, Mahaprabhu, Spuratyuva will roar. Basically, it is saying, may the lion like Gaura or Mahaprabhu enter the cave of my heart and roar so loudly that the anarthas in my heart vanish. The offensive tendencies in my heart vanish. And I realized, he's actually there. Mahaprabhu is sitting in our cave like heart. It's a dank, dirty, very, very contaminated cave, but he's sitting there and he's roaring. The problem is we have not gone to the cave. We have not made that expedition internally to that cave. And to make that expedition, Mahaprabhu is saying, Trinadapi Sunichena Karuri Vasakshana. By humbly accepting what we are and tolerating what may seem uncomfortable, we can actually enter that cave and feel the roar of Mahaprabhu, the lion like Mahaprabhu. If you look at, there are 4 parts of this verse. Trinadapi Sunichena. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of the acharyas, the guru of our dear A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada says, because Sunichena over here refers to humility, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, humility is that which is absent when there is a spirit of enjoyment. It's very profound. Humility is that which is absent when there is a spirit of enjoyment. Understanding that bhakti is a gift that never originally belonged to us helps us recognize our true position, helps us become humble. So I really like, when I think of Trinadapi Sunichena, I remember this line from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Humility is that which is absent when there is a spirit of enjoyment. Taroriva Sahishnuna. Sahishnuna refers to tolerance. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this wonderful definition for tolerance. Tolerance is pure compassion free from envy. I repeat, tolerance is pure compassion free from envy. This is interesting because whenever we hear be humble, be tolerant, we are like, oh, let everybody, come and beat us on the head. He'll humbly, he'll stand in front of everybody, they will slap us, they will exploit us, they will cheat us. No, actually, tolerance is more than just accepting what is coming to us. Tolerance is to feel compassionate for the condition of other living entities and to give without expectation. So I really love this definition of tolerance. Amanina manade. Do not expect any respects for oneself and to always give respects to others. So there is a very famous pastime which most of you know. It is the pastime of Bhrigu Muni. Bhrigu Muni is the son of Brahma. Brahma is considered one of the Trinity. He's the Lord of creation of this specific universe. There is Vishnu, who is the maintainer of Mahavishnu, maintainer of this universe, and Lord Shiva, who's the destroyer of this universe. So there was a conversation amongst the saints asking, who amongst these three is supreme? Like, who should I give the most respect to? Because they're all gods. So who's more supreme? So Bhrigu Muni volunteers. He goes to Brahma, and Brahma is his father. So his father says, oh my dear Bhrigu, come here and embrace me. And Bhrigu, to test him, ignores him. He just walks away. And Brahma gets really angry, Like, my God, I'm the creator of the universe, and you don't have the decency to listen to me when I'm telling you something. I'm your father. And Bhrigu Muni immediately says, oh dear father, this was a test of your ability to be humble and tolerant. Thank you very much. Then he goes to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is with Mother Parvati, his consort. And they are considered like cousins, but separated. So the moment Bhrigu comes, Shiva gets up and says, oh, Bhrigu, how are you? It has been very long. And Bhrigu exacts a new level of insult. So with Brahma, he just ignored him. But with Shiva, he starts uttering swear words. You beep, 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 And Shiva gets really angry. And we know what happens when Shiva gets angry. His third eye opens and he's ready to do his taণ্ডava and destroy everything. First of all, destroy Bhrigu. Immediately, Parvati consoles him. No, my lord, no, he's testing you. Calm down, he's just testing you. And so Bhrigu realizes, no, I don't think I can give Shiva the position of being the most humble and tolerant. And then he comes to Mahavishnu. Now, Mahavishnu is lying down on the, on Anantashesh. So when he's lying down, he sees Bhrigu from afar. And when you're lying down, it takes a little bit of effort to get up. And so he says, oh Bhrigu, welcome. I did not expect you. How may I serve you? Now Bhrigu takes his insult to the ultimate level. The first level was just ignorance. The second level was insulting Shiva. But this time, he goes to a new extreme. He takes his foot and he kicks Vishnu on the chest. Like, there you go, Who are you? He kicks him directly in the chest, where Mother Lakshmi is sitting. Now, he was expecting a very strong reaction from Mahavishnu. But instead of, pulling out, Mahavishnu has a Sudarshan Chakra with which he annihilates all his enemies. Instead of pulling out his Sudarshan Chakra, Mahavishnu says, oh my God, are your feet paining? My chest is really hard, I'm so sorry. your feet must be hurting. Come here, you sit down, let me massage your feet. I'm so sorry, I should have told you my chest is like rock solid. It must be hurting you. At the moment Brigu sees that, tears come from his eyes. How can someone who has been insulted so badly choose to come and, try to attempt to be a servant of the insulter? And so Brigu Muni concluded amongst the assembly of sages, amongst all the devtas, I think Mahavishnu is supreme. So here we can see the Lord himself is using his example to show what it means to not expect any respect for oneself. He's getting kicked by a Muni who has no powers in comparison to him. But he's taking that kick, and not just taking the kick, he's coming and trying to serve Brigu. So I want to end with two stories. I'm going to try to make it really short. So story number one. This is a story of a devotee who went to Vrindavan. He saw a sadhu from whom he wanted to take diksha. He wanted to get initiated by him into the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. So he goes to the sadhu and says, "O Guru, O saintly person, I want to accept you as my Guru. Please accept me. Please give me initiation." Now, from interacting with this devotee, the saint felt that this guy has an ego. He's not sincere. Like, he seems to be pretending. So the Guru says, "Okay, I'll give you, before I give you initiation, all my disciples have to finish one seva. And the seva is, you have to go everywhere in this world and find one person who is lesser than you in all respects. Lesser than you in all respects means when you compare yourself to them, you're like, this person is definitely lesser than you. So make a list of all such people who are lesser than you." So then and the sadhu says, "I give you 7 days." So the devotee is like, easy peasy. It's going to be so fast, I'll just walk outside, I'll find that guy, this guy, Like, so many people commit mistakes, so yeah, I know, like, who's following and who's not. So then he starts with the human species. So he travels the Bhuloka, and he tries to find people who are lesser than him. But then, after intense searching, he says, "Oh, this, everybody is not greater than me in everything, but there is usually one thing in which they are better than me. Either they are more beautiful than me, or they are more renounced than me, or they have more wealth than me, or they have more fame than me. Something makes them slightly superior to me." Okay, human beings are anyways, really very difficult to understand. Let's go to the animal kingdom. So then he goes to the lions, but hey, the lions are very strong. They can kill me. He goes to the birds. Oh wait, I'm bigger than them, but the birds can fly. I go to the aquatic animals. Well, they're smaller than me, but they know how to swim. I don't know how to swim. He goes to the trees. Well, the trees don't do anything, but they live longer than me. So then he's thinking, is there anything in this world which is actually lower than me? So one day, he goes, after eating prasadam, he goes to one tree and he's clearing his stomach. He's clearing his bowels. And then it hits him. Yes, there's one thing lower than me. And it's my stool. Stool is definitely lower than me. There is no quality of stool that is desirable. Right? But then, after having spent so many days just trying to find good qualities in everybody, he says, wait a minute, actually the stool is getting converted into manure, which is nourishing the soil. I can't do that. Am I lower than the stool also? Then he sees in the stool there's a worm. And then he's like, definitely, it's definitely the worm. And then he thinks, if the worm does not, digest this stool, then how are the nutrients going to enter the soil? I mean, anything that I do, I consume for myself. I've never done anything for someone else. And in this state of mind, he's completely devastated. My God, I spent 7 days and I could not find anybody lower than me. Like, I have failed at the mission given by my guru. And so, crestfallen, he goes to his guru and says, I looked everywhere. I looked all across the planetary systems. And I realized, oh my God, I am lower than the... We can all sing it together. Or repeat after me. Jagai madai hoite muni se papishta. Jagai madai hoite muni se papishta. Puri sera kita hoite muni se lavishta. Puri sera kita hoite muni se lavishta. Kita, worm. I'm lower than the worm in the stool. And so, with that consciousness, the Guru realizes success. And then he immediately initiates his disciple. Haribol! Haribol! One final pastime. So this is about one of our more recent preeminent acharyas, Srila Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj. So once Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj was approached by a businessman from this place called Jagannath Puri. And this businessman was not straightforward. He was trying to cheat Maharaj into getting some money from him. So after the businessman left, Maharaj told one of his disciples, you know what? People may say, oh, if I'm so humble and tolerant, then people can exploit me, people can, cheat me. And so I have to be analytical and practical when I look at various devotees or people, because they may come in the vesh of a devotee, but they may have some ulterior motive. We have to be careful with how we deal with people. We may think like that. But then Maharaj said, well, is that the right mood? Because look at the Brajvasis. They accepted Putana into their midst. She appeared like a beautiful gopi trying to breastfeed Krishna. So they felt, oh, she's trying to serve the Lord. So they let a very wicked and dangerous demon come so close to Krishna. Same thing with Shankachura, same thing with Pralambasura, same thing with Vatsasura. The Brajvasis just openly welcome these demons into the assembly of these Vaishnavas and ultimately Krishna. Why? How can the Brajvasis be so naive? And Maharaj said, actually they're not naive. They're much smarter than us. Because they have complete conviction that whatever happens, Krishna will take care of it. Even when another devotee of his, like Indra, comes to destroy Vrindavan just because they are not offering him Anukul, he will come and protect us. So, can we have that complete conviction that Krishna will take care of us? It seems very hard. But I feel that this verse of Trinadapi Sunichena, Taroriva Sarishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari is the pathway to experiencing an iota of what these Brajvasis have experienced. And so, to conclude, Trinadapi Sunichena. Humility is that which is devoid of enjoyment. Tolerance. Tolerance is pure compassion, free from envy. If we don't remember anything else from this from this discussion, let us at least remember these two things. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Actually, all the Vaishnavas are senior to me, so I'm not going to ask for questions. If you have corrections and feedback, please correct me.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for class. And I just wanted to, especially since it's a main point, how do we reconcile that humility is that which is absent from enjoyment with chant and be happy? Let me point out that one time you said absent from the spirit of enjoyment, which I think is different from enjoyment.
Oh yes, in the sense that even in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, we read Anya Abhilashita Shunya. It's not Anya Abhilasha, it's not that, oh, be devoid of any desires, but be devoid of that tendency to want something for yourself. If you have a desire, it is fine, but it requires some internal. It's fine to have desires, but it is also important to accept that I have these desires and I would like to be better. So if one receives enjoyment, one can receive enjoyment while honoring prasadam. One can receive enjoyment while seeing the beautiful forms. They're so beautiful today. The forms of Radha, Madan, Mohan. And that enjoyment nourishes the heart. So it's not enjoyment that is the problem. It is the desire to be the soul or the sole cause of the enjoyment or the sole recipient of that enjoyment. That is the problem. That is my understanding.
So it's the motivation that's involved.
The motivation.
That we have. But the motivation that I want to enjoy these things versus the motivation of we want to serve Krishna or we want to do other things, and it's kind of a byproduct. The enjoyment is a byproduct.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji already knew the answer.
I have a reflection also. The point you mentioned about Nishta, that Nishta is something which you can balance the harsh and
Hidden.
yeah. So I like that point. Thank you very much for that. I have a question though. In my worldly mind, like I don't understand a lot of spirituality. So when I hear this Pranadapi Sunichan, I understand that grass cannot defend, but I can. So how do I understand that? Because is there any state of the devotees when this verse can be taught to them? Because if anybody teaches this verse to me, I will always take it like that. Grass cannot defend, tree cannot defend. I can defend soil. I cannot be humble as grass because grass cannot defend. Grass cannot do anything when somebody steps on it. But if somebody is going to step on me, then I'm going to step back. Right? Step on that person. So, is there any state of the devotees? Then they need to understand this verse more than the state where I am.
This is actually a very deep question and could be another class. But like very short, actually this is the third verse of the Shikshashtika. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarodika Sahishna. Out of 8 verses, this is the third verse. Actually the second verse, is Mahaprabhu saying, I don't have any taste for chanting these holy names. Actually in the second verse, Mahaprabhu is kind of saying, these are my flaws. It's so easy to chant, but still I have no attraction for them. And I feel that trying to jump to the third verse without accepting the second verse is a problem. And so one can truly understand the purport of the third verse if they are ready to accept that they have no taste. One is willing to accept that they have some flaws in their heart. I feel that if one is not ready to accept that I have imperfections and not ready to show those imperfections in front of the Varishta Vaishnavas, humility is going to be like a superficial thing. So first, let's be willing to expose our imperfections in front of the Vaishnavas who we deeply love, and by their instructions we will cultivate the humility that is necessary. So, I don't know if you answered that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, just one reflection on what Prabhuji asked. I think it is also to do with the tendency to enjoy, right? Because if I be humble where I'm in a position to correct, then it's wrong for me. So if my child is doing something wrong or harmful and I be tolerant, then it's wrong. So it should be in the context of.
Yes, that's why Mahaprabhu ends the verse with Kirtaniya Sadahari. Because humility and tolerance, I think you've all observed, it can be seen even in some people who might not be devotees. It can be seen even amongst those who are atheists. So humility and tolerance are considered by Jiva Goswami as Sangha Siddhi Bhakti, in that they become beautiful ornaments when practiced with bhakti. So when our motivation is the pleasure of the Lord, then humility and tolerance make sense. Otherwise, we are fighting a losing battle against the stream of this material world which is trying to push us. Thank you so much. Hare Hare. Thank you so much for the Vaishnavas. Please forgive me for any offenses.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'm going to request, thank you for being so patient. So please face the Lordships. We're going to have an arati right now. I'd like to request Rajkumar, Bharati and family to please come to perform the arati. family are sponsoring today's Sunday feast. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Just checking because I can hear you. And they're sponsoring the feast in memory of his mother, Kaushalya Bharati. Am I saying that Bharati or Bharati? Bharati. Thank you for correcting. And they're seeking the blessings and the prayers of all the devotees. So do you all mind to pray for her? If you don't mind to raise both your hands, we're going to pray for Kaushalya Mataji together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
The whole family is devoted.
That's fantastic. Okay, so just a few dates that you could pencil in your calendars, if you still use pencils. Very important dates for us. On the 23rd and the 24th, we're celebrating Gaura Purnima Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai! It's the 537th appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Haribo!
He is not long ago, he walked this earthly planet, and he is an expansion of Radha Krishna combined, and he walked this earthly planet and he brought this message of pure love. So this festival is celebrated all over the world. It's a celebration of transcendental love. And everyone is invited to this festival. There's going to be a kirtan, which is a chanting or the sound of the heart, where the heart cries in devotion and love to God. And that will be on the Saturday and Sunday as well. It will start at 1 p.m., starting with lunch. You get to have lunch with us, and then you get to have kirtan for 2 days. And then on the 24th, which is the actual day of his appearance, then we'll have Abhishek here in the temple room, where all of you will get to personally bathe their lordships Shri Shri Gaur Nitai with Panchamrita, 5 auspicious ingredients mixed together. And you'll get to personally bathe them and be in very close proximity to have the ability to absorb this beautiful love that he brought to this world. So that is going to be on the 24th. So it's a 2-day celebration on the 23rd and the 24th. It is also the 50th anniversary of this deities. Atlanta is a big city with over 35 temples. And this temple, Iskcon Atlanta Temple, was established in 1972. So, being the original and the first Hindu temple in the state of Georgia. So all the other temples in the world has their spiritual roots in this temple. And these 2 deities that you see in the center of the altar were those deities that inspired the hearts and the minds and the pockets of people to build massive temples all over the state of Georgia. So it is a big celebration for all of us, the 50th anniversary in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. So I request you to please come, all of you, and let's celebrate together. And the cool thing is you get to experience something that you have never experienced before. For those of you who have not, the program starts at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. It is so cool because it is explained that early in the morning, those deities, they get an incredible array of serving of sweets. lot of milk sweets. And it is explained that when you eat sweets, how do you feel? You feel happy. So that's why it's called the Mangal Arati, the first morning darshan that you get. Because he's so happy to see you. And he's so excited to see you. Whatever that you wish in your heart, those wishes become fulfilled. So this is the secret of this Mangal Arati. And we request you to all please join and experience this transformation and connection with their lordships, starting at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Oh, coming 6th, 3 days from now, is Ekadashi. Ekadashi is the day we fast from grains. It's a lot of story why we fast from grains. It's a very deep spiritual significance. Everyone knows about intermittent fasting. So on this day, we fast from our intoxication, which is to make sure the body doesn't get any sugar. You fast from eating. You fast from any technology and digital detox. And you fill your heart up with kirtan, which is in the temple room from 6 to 8 p.m. And then of course there will be a nice, it's called a vegetable feast. They just feed you a lot of vegetables. So those of you who want to have a special fast, you're invited to please come and join us. And then we have another Kirtan Mela. Kirtan Mela is a gathering of hundreds, if not thousands of people that get together and sing their hearts out in love for God. And that will be on the 19th, 20th and the 21st of April. There are musicians and kirtaniyas that come from around the world to sing to you and to sing with you and to open your hearts to this transcendental experience of what it means to connect with the divine through this powerful sound vibration. So those are the announcements, and one more announcement that I have is that on this Gora Purnima festival day that's coming up on the 24th, we're expecting approximately about 1,500 people that will come throughout the day to visit and get the blessings of the lordships. So when they come, we make sure that each and everyone gets prasadam, something to eat. We'll have a big feast in the evening, but throughout the day we're going to be serving them prasadam. Prasadam means food that is offered to God. And so for that, we request for those of you who would like to participate in helping to feed others, come forward and you can generously donate so that they can cook an incredible feast for everyone that comes to participate. And you all know that when you feed Vaishnavas or pilgrims, then you have open door access to the spiritual world. This is there in the Padma Puranas. Very detailed explanations are there. What is the punya you get for serving and feeding others? So, I have a list of service opportunities we have. On that day, just like on your birthdays, you get a lot of gifts. On their appearance day, we give them new clothes. You see these beautiful dresses that they're wearing? Those are hand sewn, they're not used by machines. Because in order to offer something to God, who is the personification of love, you have to offer only love. And machines, they're in between you and God. So those are hand-threaded dresses that are made for their lordships on their birthdays. And they're normally made in India, in a city called Vrindavan, a city of 5,000 temples, or in Mayapur. So, for 3 sets of deities is $4,001, and for each set is $1,350. So far, 2 sets?
1 set, Ganga Mata.
Okay, Ganga Mata Goswami, she's not here. Let's pray for her. She'd be happy to have the blessings. She sponsored one set of the dress for the deities. Let's pray for her together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So 2 other sets for the deities are available. Who would like to sponsor a new set? So would you please give us your name?
Gauri.
Gauri.
Yeah.
Full name.
Gauri Varma.
Gauri Varma. You see this beautiful little Vaishnavi standing right in front of their lordship. Which deity would you like to pick? You can pick which. Radha and Mother Mohan. So you see this beautiful little girl, Gauri Varma. We're going to pray that Gauri Varma and her mother and her father and all her 14 generations before and after her, they all become beneficiary of their Lordship's mercy. So if you can all please raise both your hands. Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Gauri. Okay, one more set of dress. Gita Mataji. So you get to pick Gaurnitai or Jagannath. Gaurnitai. Gaurnitai is taken. Oh, Ganga Mataji to Gaurnitai. So you take Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi. For those of you who do not know Gita Mataji, she is one of the icons and the pillars of this temple. She's been here before me, and she's been continuously dedicating her heart and her soul and every drop of blood, sweat and tears to build this congregation, to build this temple, to build. Four of your arms together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is other opportunities for jewelry, for flower garlands, and bhoga offering. Oh, there is Kalash Abhishek. Oh, this is something that's very unique this year, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his bodily complexion is golden, because he is in the mood of Srimati Radharani, whose bodily complexion is golden. So we're going to do golden Kalash Abhishek. That means you get a gold Kalash, and inside of the gold Kalash you'll get a golden lotus. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to do it. What we do is we get fresh lotuses from India, and we put gold dust on these lotus flowers, and we put it in this Kalash, this golden Kalash. You have a sample? Can you please bring one out? At least they get an idea of what a golden Kalash looks like. And you get to personally come and bathe. This very intimate ceremony. You get to sit with God, you get to stand in front of Him, and you get to personally bathe Him. So this is what this is called Shwarana Kamal Kalash Abhishek. Something like this. The shape may be a little different. So this is what we call the Kalash. Not Kailash, but Kalash. Kailash is a little different. So this Kalash you get, and you'll get a lotus flower. The lotus flowers have to be ordered way in advance, because it comes on a special ship all the way from India. I'm not sure how long it takes, but we have to order it a month in advance to get those lotuses in, and you get to personally bathe the lordships with it. And also the Kalashas are coming from Vrindavan. There will be coconut, there will be lotus, you get to do a lot of cool things. So, and for that, I think it's 301, $301 donation that will cover the cost of serving and feeding everyone and pay for the whole festival. Because this is your temple, this is not mine, it doesn't belong to me, this is your temple, and everything here happens because of your involvement, your support, your dedication, and your contribution. So, Shota, you want to take names, or you want them to come and see you later? Anyone interested in doing the Abhishek? Leela Krishna Prabhu, $301.
Haribo!
Can we do a big Haribol? A little loud, let's hear it. You want to hear a secret? Should I tell you a secret? Who wants to hear a secret? Only you? Okay, I'm going to tell just for you. The secret is when you glorify someone else, when you talk nice about someone else, you get all of their good qualities. And when you speak bad about someone else, you get all of their bad qualities. So, when someone is sponsoring, when we say Haribo, guess what? You just got all of their good qualities just by glorifying them, saying Haribo. So let's give it up for Leela Krishna Prabhu. Haribo! Who else? Mataji. Prabhuji, whose name do you want to put it under?
Whole family.
So the whole family. Let's do a big Haribol for the whole family. Rati Manjari Mataji. Everyone, let's do a big Haribol for her. Anyone else? Janti Bhai. Let's give a big Haribol for her. Anyone else? Okay, please take your time. You only have, how many days? You have about 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks. You can come and see Shodashwar Prabhu, or you can come and see me, and we'll be able to engage you properly in whatever service you want to do for the lordships. So thank you very much. Please come and have the last darshan of the deities. Prashadam will be served outside.